The Lakers may have just found the steal of the NBA draft. But there's one massive problem. This dude was once viewed as a future lottery pick. Some scouts even thought he had top 10 potential. And now, he could actually fall all the way to the Lakers at pick number 25 because of serious injury concerns. But if this gamble works, the Lakers might finally solve their biggest weakness. And after watching OKC completely expose the Lakers' lack of size, athleticism, and rim protection in the playoffs, Rob Pelinka may have no choice but to take this risk. So today we gotta talk about Kentucky big man Jayden Quaintance, his fit with Luka Doncic, why some scouts love him, why others think he's too risky, his strengths, his weaknesses, and whether this could become one of the biggest boom or bust picks in the entire NBA draft. Now first off, after the NBA draft lottery officially got finalized, things may have actually gotten better for the Lakers. Because when the Bulls jumped into the top 4, it potentially changed the entire draft board. Chicago was expected to target a big man, but now they're probably taking one of the elite top prospects instead, which could allow a center like Jayden Quaintance to slip down the board. And if that happens, the Lakers could have a huge decision to make. Now, according to Kevin O'Connor's latest mock draft, he has the Lakers selecting Jayden Quaintance with the 25th overall pick. But here's where things get really interesting. Kevin O'Connor also admitted that he personally doesn't even think Quaintance should be a first-round pick. That's crazy, because other scouts still think this dude has lottery-level talent. So already you can see how divided people are on this prospect. And honestly, I understand both sides. Because when healthy, Jayden Quaintance looks exactly like the type of player the Lakers desperately need. The Lakers need rim protection, athleticism, switchability, size, energy, rebounding, and a long-term lob threat next to Luka Doncic. And defensively, Quaintance checks almost every single box. This dude is 6 feet 9 inches barefoot, 253 pounds, with a ridiculous 7 feet 5 inches wingspan and a 9 feet 1 inch standing reach. Those are monster measurements. That's elite NBA length. And what makes this even crazier? He's still only 18 years old. Bro graduated high school at 16 years old. That's insane. Most players his age are barely entering college. And this dude was already protecting the rim against high-level competition. At Arizona State he averaged 9.4 points, 7.9 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 1.1 steals and 2.6 blocks per game. And defensively, he looked special. This dude flies around the court. He blocks shots at a high level, he protects the rim, he moves his feet really well for his size, he can switch on to guards, he rebounds, runs the floor hard, finishes lobs, and he plays with serious energy and physicality. And Lakers fans, tell me this doesn't sound perfect next to Luka Doncic. Because we all know Luka makes athletic big men look incredible. Imagine Luka throwing lobs to Quaintance, while Quaintance protects the paint and covers for Luka defensively on the other end. That's the vision. And apparently, multiple scouts see major upside here. Some people compare him to Robert Williams III defensively. Others see Clint Capela. Others even mention Kevon Looney because of his defensive impact and rebounding. And honestly, you can see flashes of all those players. But now, we gotta talk about the biggest concern. The injuries. Because this is why his draft stock is all over the place. Quaintance tore his ACL. He dealt with meniscus damage. There was swelling in the same knee during rehab. And Kevin O'Connor even mentioned he didn't look as explosive at Kentucky compared to Arizona State before the injury. That's scary. Because explosiveness is a huge part of his game. And because of those injuries, he only played 4 games at Kentucky this season. Only 4. That makes him one of the hardest prospects in the draft to evaluate. But despite only playing 4 games, there were still flashes. In his debut against St. John's, he had 10 points, 8 rebounds and 2 blocks in just 17 minutes off the bench. So the talent is clearly there. And then at the NBA draft combine, he reminded everybody why scouts were once so high on him. Because physically, this dude looks like a future NBA defensive anchor. Jonathan Givony even mentioned how impressive his dimensions were for an NBA big man. And apparently, he even grew another inch over the last 2 years. That's why some teams still view him as a possible top 15 pick despite all the injury concerns. But here's another important detail. He's not participating in 5-on-5 scrimmages at the combine. Which again shows teams are still monitoring the knee situation very carefully. And honestly, Lakers fans, this is where things get really complicated. Because the Lakers don't exactly have a ton of draft assets anymore. They need young talent badly. And OKC exposed the fact that this roster simply isn't athletic enough defensively. So if you're Rob Pelinka, do you play it safe? Or do you gamble on upside? Because that is the real Jayden Quaintance debate. Some fans are gonna say the Lakers cannot risk another injury-prone player. And honestly, that's fair. But other fans are gonna say, at pick 25 this is exactly where you swing for upside. And honestly, that's fair too. Because offensively, Quaintance is still very raw. His jumper needs work. His release is slow. He doesn't really space the floor consistently yet. His offensive game outside the paint is limited. And he's still developing as a decision-maker in half-court offense. So if the Lakers draft him, they're betting on development. But the upside is ridiculous. This is a dude who was once viewed as a possible top 10 talent before the injuries destroyed his momentum. A mobile defensive anchor with elite physical tools, elite length, elite shot blocking, upside and serious athletic potential. And if he becomes healthy again, the Lakers could get a lottery-level talent at pick 25. That's why this is such a fascinating draft prospect. And honestly, one of the most interesting parts of this entire story was his mentality. After declaring for the draft, Quaintance talked about how the last 2 years were the hardest years of his life. He talked about experiencing incredible highs and lows that every athlete fears. And honestly, you can tell this dude has been through adversity. He thanked Coach Cal Bobby Mark Pope and Kentucky fans for supporting him through everything. So mentally, this feels like somebody who's still hungry to prove himself. And Lakers fans know this already. Sometimes the best value picks come from betting on talent after injuries scare teams away. But at the same time, injuries can completely change careers. So this pick would absolutely come with risk. And that's why Jayden Quaintance might honestly be one of the biggest boom or bust prospects in the entire Lakers draft range. But now I want to hear from you, Lakers Nation. If Jayden Quaintance is available at pick number 25, are you drafting him? Or are the injuries too risky? And also, what player do you want the Lakers to draft? Comment down below because I'm reading all the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe because we're going to be covering Lakers rumors, trades, mock drafts, free agency, and everything surrounding the Lakers all off-season long.